particular you rascals would like to consider? Any particular thing you would like to discuss? Anything you don't understand? We all understand we could just break for lunch, head back home. Yes, beloved.
I just started reading a book called Spirituality of Imperfection. And I haven't gotten very far in the book, but I thought it was pretty profound that they're speaking about we really are imperfect and how to reconcile with that and still stay on this path. How can we best do that?
Well, I think the recognition of your imperfection should motivate you, should inspire you to stay on the path. It should certainly not discourage you. At some level, it should liberate you from the illusion of your perfection, which is usually the case living and operating in a egoic state of mind. There's always the presumption that ain't nothing wrong with you. The spirituality of that recognition, you see, is the kind of spirituality that makes you work. And address all of those imperfections, shortcomings, faults, and so forth and so on. So there's something useful in that. But nevertheless, something even more profound must be understood. When we have those occasions for Dukkha-san, so many of you are confessing that you still feel there's something else for you to understand. You haven't quite understood enough. You're still searching for some more understanding. Even beyond the understanding of your imperfection, shortcoming, and faults, you see, which is part and parcel of the egoic state of mind and condition. Even though you may recognize all of that, there's still a kind of search going on for more understanding. So what must you understand if you are to really, truly embark upon the spiritual path and the sacred way of life and living? What is the fundamental thing that must be understood, you see? The supreme understanding, if you will. That understanding that moves you to great practice, great sadhana. The saints and mystics have suggested that there is a kind of core and fundamental and foundational understanding that you must arrive in order to truly live an authentic spiritual way of life. They have said that you simply must understand that life and living in your egoic state of mind and consciousness is to live a complete illusion. It is a life in living altogether disassociated from reality. And this is what you must understand. Not how many reasons there are, not when the creation first began, and all of the other usual metaphysical stuff you like to lose yourself in. But must be understood that your life and your living in your egoic state of mind and consciousness is fundamentally Maya, fundamentally illusion, fundamentally unreal. And when this is understood, then that life and that way of living no longer absorbs you. You are no longer obsessed with it. You are able to achieve some degree of detachment, a kind of freeing up of energy, time, and attention for the sake of the spiritual and sacred way of life. But until you have understood that in your egoic condition, the way you are living, it's fundamentally grounded in nothing but absolute illusion and delusion, and not at all associated with reality whatsoever. If you cannot understand this, then you really can't understand any of the other aspects of the teachings. The ability to understand Dhamma requires that you first understand the illusionary nature of the egoic condition. If you do not understand that, you simply will always be confused about every teaching that the saints and gurus give. You will not be able to understand it. It's like if you can't understand basic arithmetic, you cannot follow differential equations. That's just not going to happen. It's not possible. You must have basic understanding. So it's not only that you are imperfect, the ego self is imperfect, but the ego self in its entirety is nothing but an illusion. That's not who you are, or what you are. So it gets rather profound. And the path is not about addressing all of these imperfections, shortcomings, and faults that you observe in your egoic self. That's a futile ambition. You'll never clean the ego up. It's impossible. It's a futile ambition. The ego must be transcended, not improved. Please make a note. Many people come to the path confusing it with some kind of a self-improvement program. This is not a self-improvement program. This is not about identifying and finding all of your egoic imperfections and then addressing those. You see, that's not what it's about. Even though there may be a little of that is inevitable in every one case, but fundamentally the path is not about cleaning up your egoic self. It's about transcending it altogether, you see. It's not psychology. It's not philosophy. It's not religion. All of those are ego-based activities. All of those are in the service of somehow improving your ego self. Real spirituality is about the transcendence of all of that, not trying to fix it, you see. You're trying to somehow fix your egoic way of life and living. That way of life and living cannot be fixed. It must be transcended. You must simply recognize that the way you are living totally disassociated from reality and can only result in suffering. So this is what there is to be understood, and you must understand it as quickly as possible before your opportunity to take advantage of the spiritual life runs out. You won't be here forever. So there's a kind of urgency about it, isn't it? You see, not understanding that not only deny you access to the profound wisdom of the reality teachings given by the gurus, it also cuts you off from ever entering into right relationship with the guru. You all tend to engage the guru at the level of your ego, trying to draw the guru into your egoic life and help you straighten it out. And that's not the function of the gurus. That's not the function of the sages, you see. The function of the guru, the sage, is to pull you out of that life altogether. You're looking to be consoled and loved. You want the guru to be the love of your life. You couldn't find a husband, you couldn't find a wife, you have no good friends, so you now want the guru to fulfill that vacuum in your life. That's not what the guru is here to do. He's not here to love you. He's here for you to love him. And you gotta understand that. Now this is profound. The guru is a rope for you to grab onto and hold on with your dear life and be pulled out of your egoic condition. Not someone for you to possess and use to fill up your otherwise empty egoic existence. That's not what the Buddha is here for, and you all simply don't understand that, and are always approaching me, demanding that I serve you in that capacity, and if I refuse, then you all pissed off about it. Aren't you?
Yes.
That's not what I'm here to do. So you must understand how to use the guru rightly. But you won't do that until you understand your condition that you're in. You're in an egoic condition. You are in trouble. And until you recognize that you are in trouble, you will not reach out for help. Are you following my argument? Say it under.
I'm not sure what the correct title is, but the 1998 book says on how to be in right relationship with the guru. Can you speak on that?
Buddha Bhakti Yoga.
Yeah. And how all of its components and how you were saying at that time, and it seemed like a lot of us, or I can say for myself, is still stuck on you can't even be committed to your day-to-day interactions with others. How can you be committed to the guru if you still have stumbling blocks in your personal or your day-to-day life?
It all links into what I've been saying here thus far, that until you actually understand your condition, that's the purpose of self-observation, to recognize your condition. Not to go on endlessly analyzing it down to the tiniest minutia. That's not the point. You follow me? It's like the man who falls into a well. Instead of reaching for the hand above to be rescued, go on asking questions about the well. How wide is it? How deep it is? How much cubic feet of water could it possibly hold? And if not that, then how much dirt was here originally? And what was in this hole before I fell in it, and blah, 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 blah. Questions that have absolutely nothing to do with your being rescued from your situation. See, some of us want the Sumerian above to throw down a TV set, a microwave, so that we can make this hole that we are in comfortable. You don't understand it. You're in a hole. The function of the guru is to teach us reality, fundamentally. Every guru in every time, every place, have always brought the same message. The saints, the sages, are messengers of reality. They come to tell you the truth. This is reality. And on the basis of that revelation of reality, change. Get into my art. You see, the concept of my art is not some kind of mere moral and ethical system, as many Afrocentric scholars presume it to be. You see, it is, my art is something much more profound than the Nguzu Saba and so forth and so on, you see. The Ma'at state of consciousness is a state of consciousness that is in harmony with reality. You live harmoniously with reality. That's Ma'at. And that's altogether different from those who make romanticism out of the great Kemetic wisdom tradition, you see? Trivializes it, reduces it to mere philosophy. So the gurus, the sevas, so forth and so on, have always come to communicate one thing: reality. They give reality teachings. Not to expect anything else from the guru is to misuse the guru. You see? It is to reduce the guru. You want to kind of use the guru in your life as some kind of support system, you see? That is an abuse of the guru. That's not Guru Bhakti. You see? Guru Bhakti Yoga is about using the guru as a means of distracting yourself, liberating yourself from your egoic condition. You use the guru as a tool to liberate yourself from the egoic condition. The guru is to be used for that purpose, not to further bind you to your egoic condition, but to be liberated from it. The word guru is made up of a composite of Sanskrit words that literally means light shining in the darkness. That's fundamentally what the guru and the sages are. They are light shining into the darkness, the light of reality shining into your dark light that is altogether dissociated from reality. But until there is on your part the recognition that your egoic way of life is fundamentally nothing but absolute illusion, you simply will not and cannot make right use of the guru and the guru's instruction. Simply can't. You will not be motivated to do so. Now there's a lot more about that can be said. It may be better to discuss that just amongst those who are initiated, because there's a lot more to say about it, that whole notion of Guru Bhakti Yoga, the yoga of coming into my art with the Guru. So, like coming into my art with reality. Because that's what the Guru is always going to do, is reflect reality to you. You pretend you won't die, the Guru reminds you on every occasion, you're going to die. You're closer today than you were yesterday. What are you going to do about that? Something else to say about it? You see, beloveds, spiritual life requires that you become serious. You have to be serious about it. You can't just be this kind of gleeful character, full of all kinds of emotional enthusiasm, but that's it. You have to be profoundly serious about this matter. You don't necessarily have to be without humor, but you must be serious about it. Do you all understand that the very way of life that you're living is fundamentally an illusion, grounded in pure illusion? Do you all really understand that?
Yes, sir.
Really consider that.
No.
No, you haven't really looked at that. You actually think that you're living in reality. I'm telling you, you're not living at all in reality. Even at the neurophysiological basis, you see? Even in terms of how your sensory systems of perception feedbacks data to you. Are you following me? The senses converts experiences into neurotransmitters. All of that takes time. Everything that you eventually think about that table is a delayed reaction. Small, a nanosecond, no doubt, but still, the table you see has changed. Just in the time it took your brain to translate all of that perception into an image. It's like looking out into the universe and you see a star light. Well, many of those stars, most of them don't even exist anymore. It's just that they are so far away, hundreds, perhaps thousands of millions or billions of light years. It just takes that much time for light to reach your eyes. The star itself don't even exist. So you're seeing light, but you're not seeing the star. It don't exist. A lot of you are like that. You're seeing things that you call real that don't even exist at all. So even from a neurophysiological point of view, this is, you're not in touch with reality. Your brain and nervous system filters reality out and replaces reality with a concept, an image. And then you live in this world of concepts and images, mistaking that to be reality. That's what your waking condition is. That is all that it is. In your waking condition, in your waking state of mind, you are totally out of touch with reality. You are lagging behind reality, by definition. And so you must go beyond this waking state of mind if you want to get in touch with reality. No fooling, no kidding. And there's a process for that. You see, there's meditation. There's the sadhana associated with it all. You see. Are you all following my argument? But what to say of these subtle aspects of reality, just the gross aspects of reality, you're living out of touch with that, aren't you? You see people dying all around you, but you presume you're not going to die. Is that living in touch with reality or out of touch with reality? That's pretty much out of touch, right? Sure it is. You think your body is never going to grow old and grow sick, right? Trying to stay young forever. Is that about right?
Yes.
Yes.
Is that in touch or out of touch with reality?
Out.
Sure. You're trying to find some person, place, thing to become the basis of your happiness? Has that ever happened yet? It's not reality. So you're not living in reality, you're living in your mind. You're living in your imagination. That's the egoic condition. Life confined to your head. That's the egoic condition. Bondage to the mind. Yes, beloved.
And isn't it limited because we repeat the same behaviors over and over again, the same script, the same everything, over and over and over and over again?
Broken record. Absolutely right. Patterned. Groundhog Day. Every situation ends the same. And the failure to be happy. Everything. Got a new job, you was wide-eyed and bushy-tailed, and after 6 months, you miserable again. Change one life partner, get a new life partner, 6 months. Same old shit. You see my point? It's the same pattern. You'll always return to your fundamental condition of unhappiness. Repetitive. A Bhagwan. You see, repeated the same old kind of life. This life is just a repeat of your last one. Same old thing happened. Same stresses, same anxieties, same hopes dashed to pieces, and you just repeating it again and again and again. Had millions of husbands, millions of wives, millions of children, tried to make all that the basis of something like happiness. It failed. You see, you're unconscious. You see, and you just repeat. So you really have to examine all of this and look into this thing and really decide. You have to understand this is not it. This is not it. This is not what you were looking for. This is not what the heart wants. This is not it. The life you have is not it. That's not what the heart wants, you see? It's not what the heart wants. The heart wants something altogether different, you see. What you really are doing, you're trying to create a state of feeling. See, there's a certain feeling you want to have. It's something you want to feel. You're trying to feel a certain way. You're trying to combinate people, circumstances, situations, places, and things. You're trying to combinate all that to generate a certain kind of feeling you want to have. But in spite of all your accommodating, it's not producing that feeling. That's not it. That's not it. Mhm. Something in you, at the very core of your being, is not satisfied with how you feel it and making yourself feel through all of your various efforting, because that's not it. Now, what is really interesting, you see, beloved, is that the way you know it is not it is because you've had a taste of it. Is that about right? You have a basis of comparison. You see, you may not be conscious of it right now, but somewhere deep down inside of you, there has been the experience of that feeling that you're trying to feel now through everything that you're doing. And you're always recognizing that that's not it. It's not lining up with this. What is that feeling? We'll continue next month. Same place, same time. Oh, God. But that's the story of your life. You get close to it, then you die. So what you just felt now, that's exactly how you're going to feel when you dead. God damn. Well, you see, beloveds, you get a taste of what you're looking for every night by grace. It is given. And that is when you fall into the deep, dreamless state of mind. Susupti, as the Hindus call it. Every night, by grace, you fall into deep, dreamless sleep. And in that state, you are perfectly at rest, perfectly at peace, equanimity, serenity, you see? And when the alarm clock goes off to start the waking condition, you don't even want to get back into the waking state. You rather sleep. Because in your deep dreamless sleep, you have access to that feeling of utter and complete happiness. That's what happiness feels like, you see. Now we need to go into this a little bit today, because again, self-realization, the feeling of self-realization is much more profound than the feeling of complete serenity that you experience in deep sleep, but it's the only experience that you have that I can speak to, whereby you can follow me. Yes, beloved?
I'm an artist, and sometimes when I'm really into what I'm doing, I lose track of time. Nothing else is existing.
Yes.
But I'm focusing in that point.
Yes.
Is that close?
It's very close. It's very
Because
close.
I love that. I don't get it a lot.
That's right.
When I do get it,
That's
I
right.
really, and
That's
I
right.
never forget it.
That's right. It's very close. So bear with me a little bit. Now, you have to understand that what happens is this. All of your attention that you have going on in the world here is withdrawn in that process that takes you into deep sleep. First thing you forget about is what?
Yes.
The world. You forget about the world. You let the world go. That's a requirement if you want to have higher states of peace. Hear me clearly. You must let this world go via your attention. You must withdraw your attention from this stuff to have peace. You all are working ass backward. You're trying to give all your attention to the world and have something like peace. How will you do that? Now, how are you going to do it? Peace requires that you withdraw your attention from the world. And when you do that, you see, the attention falls right back onto the body. Then it requires you to withdraw it off of the body. And then you fall into this state of susupti that is blissful, because you have forgot about the world and you have forgot about yourself. Suffering is the result of the preoccupation with the world and the preoccupation with Joe's ego self. If you can forget about the world and forget about the self via your attention, you will have the peace. If you can be distracted from the world and yourself, you will have the peace. That's what happened in a moment of creativity. You are distracted. You see, all that there is the picture before you in the paint. You become one with that, in communion with that, or just the instrument and the music. And everything else is gone. Even you forget about yourself. You're not even aware of yourself. You don't know where you're at. You see, you are transcendent of your ego in that moment. You have been distracted from your self-obsession by the beauty of the music, you see, and it is blissful. But even so, it is not as blissful as what you get every night by grace. I call it poor man enlightenment. It's the closest to the enlightened condition you're ever going to come. But it gives you a taste. It's just a little taste. It's the bliss of self-realization is far more profound than that. But there's no way for me to communicate that to you with language. There's nothing for me to point to in your own experience that would enable you to understand a word I'm saying about it, except this state that you go into at night. It's something like that. Not exactly like that. Much more profound than that, but something like that peace. You see? And so, after having withdrawn your attention from the world, withdrawn your attention from your body, you fall into this place that is absolutely peaceful. Not that you are unconscious, not that you don't exist. You see, you're no longer conscious of the world. Objects. Objectivity falls out of awareness. The body falls out of awareness. The ego self falls out of awareness. And all that is left standing in that deep, dreamless state is just awareness of its own self, and that feels good. And that's the feeling you're trying to have. Yes, beloved?
Is that the same as when you meditate?
Yes, I'm going to get to that. You're right on point here. I'm just kind of walking you slow, because some of these rascals retarded, dear.
When you meditate, you're constantly fighting with that eagerness.
That ego.
Yeah, and
that
ego
ego.
constantly coming to your mind.
Yes, we're going to talk about that. Just hold on. You're absolutely right. I'm just trying to show you the simple thing here. I'm trying to show you the source and the location of the feeling that you're trying to have in your waking state and in everything that you're doing in this waking state. You follow? I'm trying to show you what you're after. Because the truth is that you would rather sleep. You rather not ever come out of that condition. And you will notice upon being awakened, thrown out of paradise, because you are thrown back out of that. You see, back into the world. You really don't want to go. The alarm clock goes off and you know what I mean? You really don't want to get up out of there. You really, really don't. You would rather stay in that state, wouldn't you?
Yes.
Even the children would rather stay in that state. You know what I mean? They don't want to come out of that state. Nobody wants to come out of that state. You see? That's the closest I can bring you to what we mean about being happy. See, being happy is not something that is the result of you fulfilling a desire. That's pleasurization. When you have a desire and then that desire fulfilled, all you got in that moment is pleasure. We're not talking about pleasure. We're talking about happiness, the absence of desire, altogether. that's happy. You follow me? In that state of sasuti, there is no desire for the world. You've forgotten about it and everything in it. No desire for any of it. And you feel absolutely at rest, at peace, serene, happy. And that's feeling is what you're chasing now. Everything you do, you're trying to make yourself feel a certain way. Make a note. Make a note. Everything that you're doing is being done to try to create a certain feeling. You're trying to make yourself feel that what you feel in deep sleep. You just are not conscious of it. But that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to be happy. But it's not a kind of happiness made up of the fulfillment of desires. You see my point? That's where you get confused. You think that that happiness, that reference happiness, that core, what I call the primal state of happiness, you know, that you all recognize, you see? And the other kind of things you're doing to try to recreate that state, you call that, you're trying to create that state, but all you can do is create pleasure, messing with this world. Is that about right? Any combinating of people, places, and things is only going to result in moments of pleasure. That's how come you soon recognize, this is not it. This is not it. I had the desire to give me a six-figure income, got it. And this is still not it. I fulfilled the desire. This is not it. I got married. I fulfilled the desire. This is not it. I had 2.5 children, white picket fence. This is not it. And you spend your whole life chasing it. And then you drop dead. And then you start over in another birth. You've been chasing it for millions and millions of lifetimes. The gift of the guru is that they come and tell us where it's at and how to go get it. You see? Not to help you culminate more stuff in the world. You follow me? Under your illusion that by doing so you will get it. That's not what the guru's here. The guru's not here to help you find a husband, help you find a wife, help you find a job, help you this, help you that. That's not the guru business. That's none of the guru's business. You see? And it would not be none of your business either if you really understood these teachings, right? But you don't understand it where you're at. Are you following me? Now, beloved, you were talking about meditation. Yes, meditation is the means by which you can locate it. Meditation is the process by which you find that which you are looking for. You are seeking that. You are seeking that feeling state, that feeling condition. You see, that's what you're trying to experience. That's what you want. You follow me? And meditation is the means and the process by which you're able to locate that feeling. Right here, right now. And the technique, beloved, is just as I've described. You sit down, you become still, which is what you do every night, and you let go of the world. You let go of all your worldly concerns, because that's what you have to do at night. Otherwise, you can't go to sleep. If you can't let go of all your worldly concerns, you just toss and turn, toss and turn, toss and turn. You can't even go to sleep at night. You see? By grace, a device has been built into the body that just will fatigue your butt, force you to go to sleep after 3 or 4 days of tossing and turn. That's grace. See, because you have to come to the source. You see, we're not going through these 3 cycles and states of consciousness by accident. This is by design. Do you understand me? Everyone and everything has to be returned to this source and be refreshed. Otherwise, you can't survive. try not sleeping, and you will fall apart. The body-mind cannot operate without coming to this rest. It just can't. You follow what I'm saying? Psychologically or physically. So nature has made it such that this process goes on independent of your cooperation. You see? Because some of us is too stupid to go to sleep. Out of reality. You know what I mean? Do y'all understand what I'm saying? This is a profound subject. I'm trying to address it under the limitation of language and the limitation of your own experiences. I only got 3 states that you are aware of that I can paint this picture in, right? I am addressing that state of your own experience that comes closest to what we're talking about here. So in meditation, you're doing the same thing. You're withdrawing your attention from all of your worldly concerns. That's the first thing. You get still and you get quiet. And you let go. Then you must further withdraw your attention from all of the inner world in the form of your thinking. You see, that's what dream is. Dreaming is the withdrawal of attention back into the mind, but it'll generate a dream. You're still not in the deep susupti state. You're in the dream state. You see? You still have an experience, different than the outside experience, but experience nevertheless. And it's not restful. No. You see, it's not restful. When you're having a dream, you are not feeling that feeling that I'm talking about. You see, it doesn't exist at the level of your dreaming because you have not gone deep enough. You have not gone beyond that inner world. See? But attention has to be moved beyond the thinking, beyond the mind. And when your attention falls there, you have entered into susupti. Joy, went back one step more, you enter into the turiyat. You see? You enter into the 4th state, the self-realized, the enlightened state. And there's nothing that I can point to in your experience that will give you any idea of what I'm talking about. You can only imagine it by comparing it with your deep dreamless state that you do know about, you see. But this is what meditation does. So it's the same process. If you can go to sleep, you can become enlightened. It's really that simple. But just like you could have no problem laying down at night, letting go of the world, you ain't all freaked out, are you? You sitting and meditate, you scared. What is that? That's ignorance. You see? I can't let go of the world. Nonsense, you let go of it every night. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? You do it every single night. I'm scared to let go of my life. You let go of it every night. What are you talking about? My comfort zone. There is no comfort zone. You people are imagining that you have a comfort zone. It's just your imagination. That's not a comfort zone at all. That's a disassociation from reality. You're an archaic person in that moment. You're living in your dream world. You see. 1 minute. So I want to get these rascals straight here. I can't do my meditation, right? Because it pulls me out of my comfort zone. It interferes. But you have no comfort zone. What are you talking about? You are an ego-bound individual. You follow what I'm saying? Out here trying to combinate people, places, and things to create that feeling. And you are not having any success. So what is your comfort zone that you're talking about? It's pure imagination. What you're confessing that you don't want to come out of your delusion. You follow what I'm saying? You're like a person that's falling asleep and having a nice dream, you know, dreaming that you're rich. You don't want to wake up, you see? Dreaming that you found the right man or the right woman, and if you go into prison, you know that the one thing you don't do to an inmate, you do not mess with him when he's sleeping and having a dream. You'll get killed. You know what I mean? And those who know anything about prison life understand what that dream consists of. So I won't get X-rated. Do y'all understand what I'm saying? So meditation simply requires the same thing. Just let go of this world. Let go of your self-concern. And then you fall into the samadhi, we call it. You see? The deep dreamless state we have called sapsupti. The enlightened state that feels very similar to that, but much more profound, we call that samadhi. Meditation takes you into samadhi. Laying your head on your pillow takes you into susupti. The difference between the two is that you never awaken out of samadhi. Once entered into it, you are in it always. Waking, dreaming, or asleep, you are always in samadhi. Samadhi becomes your point of view, becomes your point of experience. You experience the world in this state of rest. Not dependent on anyone or anything, any object. Undisturbed in your state of peace. Are you interested in something like that?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Keep hanging around. Yes, beloved.
Is it possible that anytime you're concentrating, you are on your way to that, it's like a premeditative state?
Absolutely.
Because you have dropped everything and you
Absolutely.
on this one point.
Absolutely.
So we do it every day.
You do it every day. It's so natural, you see. This concentration of attention. You first bring your attention to a point and then drop it from there. You collect your attention. Concentration is about collecting all this scattered attention. In the process of meditation, you do the same thing. There's many devices. One of the most popular ones is to use a mantra. By using a mantra, you give yourself something to focus all of your attention on, which withdraws it from the rest of the world, and then you drop it from there. You see my point? Or it will automatically move from there, you see? Even at night, you were actually bringing your attention back inside this body behind the eyes. That's what happened. And you cooperate with that because you're not afraid. You know what I mean? It's no big deal. You see my point? You've done that so frequently that you're not afraid to let go of the world for 8 hours. It's no big deal. Meditation said, just let go of the world for a couple hours here. But you can't let go of the world in that situation because you don't understand. You know? You're creating a lot of unnecessary fear about something that you do every single day. Meditation is based on this very natural process. You see? In ancient time, the wise looked and observed. You see? They said, this is what is happening naturally. And then they constructed meditation out of that. You see? Very natural. Some point man looked up at the nature and saw how the wind and the trees rustling, the branches hitting each other create fire. He duplicated. Meditation is just based on the way it is. You see? You just entered into this profound state of samadhi consciously, deliberately. Who wouldn't rather be in that state of restfulness, peace, serenity? And that's what you're looking for anyway. You are wired to look for it. You cannot do otherwise. But your question about concentration, absolutely right. Concentration precedes meditation. It's a prerequisite. In Patanjali Eightfold Yoga, they talk about that. They call it dharana. You know, dharana is concentration. It precedes dhyana, meditation. And then meditation culminates in samadhi, you see? But prior to those 3 steps, there's 5 other ones that are required. You know, the yams and the yams are required as well, and so forth and so on. See, so there's a whole process there. The whole process, including meditation, concentration, and all of that, is what I call and refer to as sadhana, you see. It's not me personally, I mean, that's what it's been referred to in certain traditions, sadhanas, you see, which simply means the spiritual process. There's a process. Just like there's a process you go through at night before you fall into deep dreamless sleep, there's similarly a process that you must go through to enter into samadhi, you see. But you must cooperate with that process. You must not be afraid of it, you see. You know that tonight when you lay down, you go into a better place. Sometimes you run home to get you a nap, because you know you're running for a refuge. You know, the world done just got on your last nerve and you become frustrated. There ain't nothing going right. And the one thing you know you can do, besides taking a drink and doing some cocaine, that's only for people who can't go to sleep. But if you can go home, make it home and go to sleep, you know, there's refuge. There's refuge. You will enter into the peace. So as you begin to understand this argument, then you begin to see the world from a different point of view. You no longer see the world as the source of that peace. You see it as the obstacle to that peace. You see, here in this waking state of mind, it's just one problem after the next problem after the next problem. It's just a life of problems. Every time you look around, there's a problem. Ain't nothing stable. Everything is coming undone. It's all kind of conflict. You got to mess with all these people, and they crazy. I mean, it's just mess. It's just a mess. Hurricane, tornado. You know, it's just a mess. You can't get no peace here. You see? The body physically can't even get no rest here in this state at all, you know? I mean, your whole point of view changes, you see? When you really understand what this is, you see? Your awakened state of mind, that's not the realm of peace. So what are you looking for peace in that state of mind for anyway? It's a great bother. It just bothers them. You know what I mean? That's why we go to bed at night, we cut CSI off. Right? You cut the damn TV off because it's going to disturb you going to sleep. Cut that TV off. Cut that music down. Get quiet up in here. I'm going to whoop you. But say, but none of them was little girls, you know, and I would be coming home from my day of ego, and I'd be tired. The ego done wore you out. I'm trying to get into the non-ego zone. You see, that is deep sasuti. And they're making noise like children, you know what I mean? And I'm hollering at them and so forth and so on. And so I decided that I'm going to teach these rascals a lesson. I'm going to let them know what it feels like. So I would take them, and I would stand them up in the room in the corner, make them be quiet, just stand there. Be quiet, better not move. And I, you know what I mean? To get silent. And then after a while, they'll start getting tired. And they'll want to go to sleep. So I just lay there, I wait 15, 20 minutes, a half an hour, I know they be tired, then they ain't got to whoop nobody. Wear them out. But you understand what I'm saying, beloved, is that in this waking state of mind and the life associated with the waking state of mind, it's just one thing after another. There is no rest, there is no peace. From sun up to sundown, you're on the move, you're just running, you're running, you're running, you're running. It's just exhausting. You know what I mean? And if you fall into the dream, sleep with dream state, there's no rest there either, because you're running from dragons, you're running from memories of what happened in the waking state of mind that evades the dream, and you're just tossing and turning on your bed. You can't get no rest, you're fretful. You know, you must go all the way in to the very core, and there you find what you're looking for. I'm telling you the same thing must be done. Stop wasting your time trying to accommodate people, places, and things to have what your heart wants. I know what your heart wants, and I know how to go get it. Yes, beloved.
I was wondering, if you meditate often enough, the things in the world, shouldn't your mind be above the things that's in the world?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And then the worldly things doesn't bother you anymore?
Don't disturb you. Don't disturb you. You see, when you get deep into that zone, there's still noise out there. It doesn't disturb you. You're deep.
And the things that's happening in the world,
Doesn't disturb you.
it doesn't bother you, it doesn't frustrate you?
Doesn't even disturb you. It doesn't even register.
Doesn't register.
Doesn't register in your awareness, you see?
What if you're sitting in a certain position
The body's
at
gone.
night, and then you're not thinking, you're not dreaming,
Right.
and then when it's time for something to happen, like your spirit's trying to come back into this body, and why do you sort of or try to reject it? Is that the ego that's trying to reject the spirit from coming back into the body?
No.
What is that?
No, in meditation, as opposed to something else, because you have to understand there's a lot of things that look like something spiritual, but fundamentally they are psychotic. You know what I mean? Belongs to the realm of psychiatry for an explanation. Meditation is not like that. You see my point? You begin to find out that you're not even in the body. The body is in you. You follow what I'm saying? The body is an object arising within awareness. You are awareness. In meditation, the identification with body as being where you're located is altogether transcendent forever. The body is just an object arising in awareness. Like Faraji body is just in your awareness, your own body would just be another object arising in awareness. Very different experience. But something that you did say is much like the state of meditation where you're not disturbed. You see, there is a depth of sleep where you're just not disturbed. You know what I mean? Sometimes you notice that when your body is really tired or your mind is really agitated and exhausted and nature brings you into you have a deep sleep that night. You know what I mean? I mean, what we call a sound asleep experience. And when you are having that sound asleep experience, very deep into that state, you don't even hear the alarm clock go off. You see? Somebody was shooting all night long, you didn't hear none of it. See my point? You were sound asleep. You had entered into the deep. You see? Peace. And you were not disturbed. You see? Sometimes we see children when they fall into the deep, because children, it's easier for them to fall into the deep because they don't have much mind yet. So they can fall into the deep and they're just knocked out. You know what I mean? You can drag them all over the place. They don't know where they are. They're in that deep. Somebody is like that. You see. Ramana Maharshi, who was a famous 20th century yogi, it is said that sometimes he will fall so deep into samadhi, and there are yogis who fall so deep into samadhi that they have to have an attendant, you know, to bring them out. You see, because they can't come out through ordinary disturbances in the world. And they tell the story of when they discover Ramana Maharshi. He was a 16-year-old boy when he first entered into samadhi, and they found him sitting in the basement of a temple in India, and he had been sitting there for days. Bugs was crawling all over him. You know what I mean? Lost in his samadhi. And the gentleman that discovered him became his caretaker for the rest of his life, you know, because he goes into samadhi. So even ants crawling all over the body doesn't disturb, you see? Unlike us, you see, we sit down and if a car go by too fast, the least little thing we disturb, you know what I mean? We haven't gone deep into the process, you see. In some sense then, beloved, even once you've entered into samadhi, waking eye, open-eyed samadhi, there's closed-eyed samadhi, and then there's open-eyed samadhi, a samadhi that is not disturbed even when the body is in motion. You see my point? When the body is fully operating, the samadhi is not disturbed. You see? At all.
That's when your body trying to come, your spirit trying to come back into the body.
Well, the body is, the spirit is already in it. The only time it goes out of it for good is when you're dead. You see? People talk about the spirit leaves the body and all of that, but that's the mind stuff. You know what I mean? When your spirit leaves the body, you wind up in a place like this, the back room. You follow what I'm saying? You are dead. You follow what I'm saying? So if you ain't dead, then the spirit is still there. You follow what I'm saying? And what is gone is that you're in another state of mind. And in that different state of mind, you're having all kinds of experiences. You see, those are the inner realms, inner worlds. You see, the heavens and hells. All of those are levels of experience that you have when the body awareness drops out. See, the body, you're not aware of the body. You become aware of something else. But life is still there, soul is still there, spirit is still there, whatever you want to call it. And when the body itself drops, then now you have a whole different experience. When the body itself dies, death now I'm talking about, finished, over with. You see, you're not going to get up in it no more. It's dead. When the body drops, now you enter into a world that is commensurate with, and one that has been shaped by your mind that you had while alive. The state of mind you're in now, if you drop dead right now, you will go to a realm that is identical to that state of mind. That's where you will enter. Like you're in a state of mind of worried all the time, you're scared all the time. That's your fundamental state of mind. The body drops, that's the world you're in. A world of worry, anxiety, and all of that. You see, when you're alive, you make the mind state. When you drop, the body drops, the mind state makes you. That's what you go to. If you're chronically unhappy, chronically miserable, that's your fundamental state of mind. When the body drops, that's the realm you go to, the realm of chronic unhappiness, because that's your state of mind. You see, it's a very profound matter here. You see, or even worse, imagine losing your body with your present state of mind. All that stuff you need, you can't see TV, you can't have sex. You're gonna go. It's gonna be a bad trip. That's a bad place to go to. It's the realm of your desires with no body to fulfill any of them. Ain't that gonna be pretty bad? Yeah, it is. It's gonna be rough. It's gonna be hell. Literally, hell.
How long does that last?
Too long. Depends on how much hell you raised in life. But in these regions, sometimes you stay in these regions incalculable lengths of time. Sometimes short times. It depends. But the point I'm making is that the death of the body is not the end of anything. You're making your destiny now. And when this body drops, that's where you will go. The mind. If you're confused, your fundamental state of mind is confusion, okay, then you are in a realm of pure confusion. that's all you will experience is confusion upon confusion upon confusion, bewilderment, confusion, confusion, confusion. You see, this is why the saints and sages have always said, you might as well learn how to get this right now. You see? How to let go of all this stuff now. The suggestion is that you learn how to die while living. Meditation is the art of dying while living. It's the art of letting go of this. Because you're going to have to let go of this in a way that is much more radical than the letting go that occurs each day when we go into susupti. Death is a letting go forever. This. You see, you're able to let go of this consoled because you know tomorrow I'm going to wake back up in my same bedroom, I still have my shit, you see? So you're not so scared of that. You know what I mean? My car going to still be there. So going to sleep is no great threat, right? But death is threatening because you are not going to wake back up in this body. You're not even going to wake back up in this world, right? And you're going to have to lose everyone and everything. And they're going to lose you. And when you enter into your bardo of dying, what to say of death? I'm talking about on the way to death. The closer you get to death, the more you will lose of your life. You progressively lose more and more of your life. You see, all of the things that you can't let go of now, you're going to let go of them. You don't have an option. And just as you're unprepared to let go of it now, you will similarly be unprepared to let go of it then. Are you following me? Yes. That's going to be rough. Meditating, it's like dying. It's letting go of the world now. You see? And be done with all of that business. You see? Where you now can live free of that fear that underlies and drives all of your behavior right now. Fundamentally, you're afraid of dying. But if I say dying, that doesn't register as abstract. But when I say losing, that comes a little closer. You see, you're going to lose this body. As you progressively approach your death, you will lose this body. You're not going to be able to get up and walk around and do what you normally do with your body, go to the store, go shopping, all of that is over. You won't even be in control of your bowels. You see my point? They don't have to give you a medication to help you take a crap. You can't even crap no more on your own. And you don't know how to handle such a loss. You have not practiced losing. You have been living disassociated from reality. You've been presuming in your fantasy that you're going to live forever. That dying does not apply to you. That you are somehow standing outside of reality. And therefore the laws of reality does not pertain to you. You've been presuming you exist independently of God and reality. You have lived like a fool, and you will die like a fool. Now that's it. That's the truth. It is so. And either you accept that and get straight, or you do not accept it and remain a fool. And that choice is yours. I'm telling you how it is. Now you may accept or don't accept that. That's up to you. But this is how it is. Exactly as I'm telling you how it goes. That's how it is. That's reality teaching. So you're going to lose everything. You're going to lose this world. All of it. Everyone and everything in it. You're going to lose all of it. In that bardo of dying, you're going to lose your car, you're going to lose your house, you're going to lose all your clothes. You're never going to be able to use any of that anymore. And you're going to have to lay there in your debilitated state and watch your clothes thrown out, your kids driving, tearing your damn car. They're going to rifle your bank account, probably rob you before you did. That's how it usually goes. They go get all the money before you finally did. You see my point? You see my? Yeah, you're going to have to witness all of that. And you're going to realize you have never been loved by any of these people. You're going to find that out too. You see? Death is a revelation of reality. Death is a revelation of reality. It's a message about reality. It reveals reality. You see? It busts through the ego. The body-mind is diminished now. You can no longer defend yourself against reality. That's all death is. And it reveals and enters you into reality. But it's the same reality. It's not a different reality that you are entered into death than this reality. It's the same reality. Right now, this body ain't yours. You follow what I'm saying? That's true right now. It'll just become clear to you as you enter into the reality of dying and death. Then it'll become very clear to you that this body was never yours. You see? You don't own nothing now. Nothing is yours. You don't own nothing. That's true now. That's reality now. But because you are an ego-bound individual who have replaced reality with your imagination and your concepts and your beliefs, right? You can't see it. You don't accept it. It's all right. Death will initiate you into reality. And then, laying on your deathbed, you will find out you don't own nothing. Because ain't going to be, none of your stuff is going to be in that intensive care unit with you. You ain't gonna have none of your stuff in there. You ain't gonna have your purse. They ain't gonna let you have your purse. Y'all know that's gonna be hard going someplace without your purse. Some of you got 4 or 5 of the purse. All that stuff is gonna be. It ain't yours. And you don't find that out. You follow me? And you have not prepared yourself to deal with reality. You haven't prepared yourself to deal with reality one day of your life. Not one single day of it. You have volunteered to be deluded. You volunteer for it. You see, you rush it toward it. You see, you watch 10 hours of TV a day. You see, willingly to be deluded. Aren't you? No spiritual preparation for it. Now this is so. It is so. Spiritual life is about being prepared right now to live with reality. Spirituality is about living your life on the basis of reality. It's about being for real. Not a life disassociated from reality. That's what the ego is. The ego is a life lived in disassociation from reality. That's what the ego does. It avoids reality. That's what it does. It pretends that it ain't so. But it is so. And you pretend that you can't die suddenly. This is nonsense. Everybody dies suddenly. That's how death comes, suddenly. Death don't come in the mail with a 30-day notice. Mr. Bilal, here's a notice from me. Y'all going to be coming to get you 90 days from now. That ain't how it works. Sudden. Unexpected. Didn't have a clue. That's how death comes. That's how it always comes. And either you are willing and able to die suddenly, or you're not. Spirituality is the ability to willingly die right now. back here. Because that's how it always gonna come. And that's how the death of your loved ones will come. Suddenly. They just went to work. You just seen them. You kissed them. And made reservations for dinners. An hour later, the police is at your door with a sad look on their face and sorry to have to tell you. That's how it happened with your children. You send them to school, give them their little lunch, kiss them, and by evening time, they're dead. That's how it is. There's no notice. Sudden. And what you gonna do when suddenness happens to you and break through your little imaginary world that you live in? And it is gonna break through. Have no doubt about it. Do you all understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So we covered a lot of things here today. Hopefully something has been said that will move you to get real. And that getting real will make you happy. There simply is no other way by which you can resolve your problems and have happiness except getting real. Self-realization real. You follow me? Self-realization is the only antidote to the outcome that you will otherwise surely face. You simply must become self and God realized. It's not an option if you want to be happy. If you want to avoid the ego destiny, you must become self and God realized. And give up all of this other stuff you're trying to do in place of self and God realization, because none of that's going to work, folks. And then you get serious about this sodomy. No fooling, no kidding. Somewhere in Scripture, Jesus says that, or somewhere, I don't know if Jesus said it or not, but somewhere in Scripture they talk about in the last days when you'll be fleeing, you won't be able to find shelters under rocks, nothing will protect you. That's true. In your last days, nothing's going to protect you. Nothing. Nothing. You see, you can't call nobody. There's nobody that can protect you. Nowhere that you can go. Nowhere for you to hide. No book for you to read. And either you will die self-realized or you will not. And it's really that simple. Anything else to say about it, beloveds? Yes, beloved. And then, beloved, number 2. Yes, ma'am.
If a person is sick and you look into the person's eyes, isn't there something about the eyes that you can tell that death is close?
Oh, yeah, you got that death look, they call it. It's a kind of stare, kind of blinking. It's a,
Shiny.
you know, they're shocked, but they are. They realize, oh, shit. That's really true. Bhagwan really was saying. Right, that's what it is. It's a kind of shock, it's a kind of terror. Because they realize it's happening. It's happening. They realized that it wasn't a joke, it wasn't philosophy, it wasn't psychology. They realized it's happening, it's happening. You see? And they realized, I'm not prepared. I don't know what to do. This hurts. You see? And sometimes the impact of the death, it moves so quickly it takes their speech away. They can't even talk, they can't say nothing. And then you just, eyes trying to talk to you because the mouth can't say nothing. The hands can't move. You follow me? Sometimes there's a look and there's a moan, death rattle and death moaning. You could hear moaning on their deathbed, moaning, crying, that inner crying. You know what I mean? You see. Sometimes there's not even a sound, you just see tears coming out. That's right. That's what it is. Reality has revealed itself. Reality has come crashing down, broke through their body-mind defenses, broke through their illusions, cut through it like a hot knife through butter. And now they done found this out. You see? The universe has taken over the process of guruing them now. And the cosmic guru is not compassionate at all. And everyone is killed that comes into this place. Everyone. Everyone is killed. Everyone suffers. So no use of you trying to protect your little bitty ones from suffering. Everyone's suffering. Everything and everyone dies. That's how it is. And either you get prepared and do that which handles all of that and help prepare all those who come close to you for that. You know, do a Noah ark with your life, you see? Or when the flood comes, you too will be out here screaming and running, trying to get in that ark. And there's no more room for you who had no faith, who had no intelligence, ego-bound people. You see? Yes, beloved.
Greetings,
Greetings, beloved. How are you?
It was recently told to me that a lot of the black people who are suffering now are actually slave masters from the past who created this reality for themselves. And they're living in the bodies of their ancestors, the seeds that they planted through rape and what have you.
Balance. Balance. So you can never know the truth by confining that search to any limited time frame. You have to be able to see this whole picture. But that's how karma works. It's a perfectly reasonable explanation. It's as reasonable as anyone else that has been offered. But absolutely so. What better justice than to make a former slave owner black? I mean, you can't get more justice than that, can you? So there's all kinds of combinations, you see. All kinds of combinations, you see. So that's how all that goes, you see.
So, Master Teacher, if we want to create a perfect life for ourselves in another body in the future, then we have to begin that now. We have to begin that preparation right now and treating people right and developing that kind of consciousness. Is that correct?
That's if you want to run that risk again. You know what happened this time. My suggestion, you don't run that risk. You go for what's behind curtain number 3. You don't want to come back into this thing. No more. You want to always abide in that state of mind and consciousness that is full of rest, full of peace, transcended to, altogether beyond all this. You don't want this no more. You see, who in their right mind would want more of this? You see, there's something more than this. The only reason we don't have such an ambition because we presume that this is the highest that it is. This ain't the highest possible existence for consciousness. This is the lowest possible level of existence. Who would want more of this? You see, this is not it. This is not the place or the realm of happiness, you know? It's really interesting. We're talking about going to Egypt on our annual retreat next year. And probably a part of that trip would take us to the pyramids of Unis. And in the inner sanctuaries in that pyramid, when you enter into it, in the ancient time, the Kemetic sages, they had a term for that because that's the heart of it, right? That's where the mysticism happens, right? That's where the great transformation happens. That's where the Pharaonic sage or any other sage makes that transition from here to there. You see? You become a living link between the two. And they called it the Asuti, the place of places. You see? There is a real Asute, but it's not here. You see my point? But there is such a place. That's where you want to go. That's the message of the saints, you see. They tell us over and over again, this is not your home. So why would you want to come back to a place that the saints are telling you, this ain't your home, this is not it. This is not it. This is not your real condition. This is not it. This is not the place of all places to be. So rather than accumulate merit, that's what a lot of the Buddhists do, you see. They practice for the accumulation of merit so that they may be born in a higher realm or born with Maitreya when the Maitreya Buddha comes back, born into the Pure Land. You have a version of that in every world religion, you know, something like paradise and so forth and so on. But the saints are talking about going way beyond all of that. Liberated from bodies, anybody, even a human body. You see, this is a prison. This is not your home. This is a prison you're in. You're straitjacketed in this body. You are limited. The body is a limitation on your being, not your home. You see, you are as wide as the universe, confined to this. Why would you want this again? I mean, you really have to sit down with this thing, beloved. This is liberation teaching. You know, not coming back here having a better life, better life. There is no better life here. You come back here, same shit gonna happen. You're gonna suffer and you're gonna die. Period. Get that clear. This place is a realm of suffering. It's not a better place to come back to. So if you come back here, if you want to come back here, get ready for some more of the same thing. That's the difference between religion and spirituality. You follow me? The spiritual person is trying to get free. You know what I mean? No fooling, no kidding. Altogether free. Not comfortable, free. And they're not playing at it. You see. And the Buddhist tradition, you see, beloved, the Bardo teachings was normally reserved and given only to the person who had entered into the Bardo of dying. That's the teaching you give to a person on the way out of here who had wasted their life. You see my point? You're trying to give them last minute instructions. And many of them who had entered into that Bardo, you know, they've done, you know, good deeds and all of that. That has its place, but that's not liberation. That's not most good. You see. So we have to talk a little bit about that privately, perhaps, because there's a lot more to be said about it. Anything else, beloved? I think I punished you all enough today. Yes, beloved?
Can you talk to us about
Exhaust the body?
Yeah, I remember one sad song you talked to us about. It's like a boiling point, like you have to boil water to a certain degree. Same thing you have to do to reach this state of mind.
Well, so much, you see, Maharaj, could be said about that, and I am almost certain that I won't be able to do any kind of justice. That's a real good question and topic to really look at, because it requires us to really look and see what the process really going to take. Now, I've just said that meditation and that whole translation that meditation brings about is like dying, you see. There is some pain involved in that, for sure. Even at the physical level of the body, there's some pain involved in that, you see. And one must be able to go through all of that. One must be willing to go through all of that, you see. It's not just pain at the body. There's pain that comes from detachment. There's a certain level of pain and withdrawal from the world. There's pain involved in that. All that has pain. All that is suffering, because you're still going to suffer. You either can suffer for the sake of enlightenment, or you can just suffer for the suffering's sake. But you're going to suffer one way or the other down here, because this is where you're at. So even liberation requires a certain willingness to suffer. And it will be some suffering that you will have to go through. But you won't mind going through that suffering that is purpose for self and God realization. You won't mind it so much. So even as you sit and the body hurt, it will still hurt, but you won't mind it hurting. The thing that shifts is that you won't mind that suffering anymore, because the suffering is purpose toward a higher goal, but it must be there. It's not going to be a party at your auntie's house, as Kabir Saab says, which is part of the illusion that many people who come to the path have. They think this thing is going to be a party. They think it's going to be a picnic. They think it's going to be easy, that it's not going to cause any inconvenience in their egoic way of life and living, that they can still stay in their little stuff. That's not how that goes. You see, you're naive. You have not understood. This is death. This is dying. There is suffering. You follow me? It ain't fun. Sadhana hurts. And you're trying to avoid that, so you'll simply never do sadhana. You will dabble at it. You see? You'll run in and out of it. But you'll never do it. Your sadhana will never be uninterrupted. You won't bear down on it. You see? That's why, you see, Maharaj used to always say that this is the path for light. You got to have some courage here. You know, this is not for children. This is for grown folk. You follow me? You must be a man, male or female, to travel this path. You see? That's what it takes. It takes what it takes, you see. And you got to be willing to do that. Maharaj used to say that what we're looking for is on the other side of pain. And you simply got to go through that, you see. And you will go through that if you're a serious person. A non-serious person, you will always know them, because they're not going to go through any inconvenience. They really aren't. You see, they're not serious. You see, a serious person cuts through. Their seriousness becomes like a siddhi. They cut through. They're serious. These people are serious. You know, they're serious, right? If I'm in medical school and I'm serious, I'm going to study 12 hours a day. You know what I mean? I'm going to wash my eye. I'm going to do whatever, but I got to do this 12 hours, because that's what an MD requires of me. The non-serious person, the moment you get just a little sleepy, because they're not serious. They're not serious, and they're still deluded. You follow me? Which takes us back to our opening statement. They are non-serious because they are bound in an egoic state of mind that is based purely on illusion. They are living their life entirely disassociated from reality. They are non-serious people. And for them, the pain stops them. Pain has a function. It protects the asuti from superficial people. Superficial people will never get past the pain. You will notice that in ancient time they will build their monasteries in deep, remote, inaccessible places. I mean, you almost have to risk your life just to get to see the Lama, right? That was done purposely because superficial people is never, ever gonna take that much risk for no damn truth. It ain't worth it. You know what I mean? Trying to get the truth, be done killed my damn self. You know what I mean? Superficial people are not willing to take the risk of pain that is associated with finding the truth. So it has a function. It wards off and protects the Dhamma and perfect knowledge from falling into the hands of superficial people. It's a built-in process because the superficial, non-serious, ego-bound individual is not coming anywhere near pain. It's like holding a cross before a vampire. I can't do that because they'll come up with some other reason, but it's really the pain. You see, they are always undisciplined. You see, because by remaining undisciplined, uncommitted, they reserve an option to indulge themselves. That's all that's about. So they'll never be committed. They're not serious enough to be committed to nothing. In fact, they're not committed to nothing. They avoid commitment. And the path takes commitment. But that's a kind of suffering, isn't it? Because commitment means you really got to do what you said. You got to keep the vow that you made unconditionally. And that's going to cause some suffering for the ego-bound individual, isn't it? Because there are going to be those moments when you ain't going to feel like keeping your commitment. Is that about right? Mm-hmm. To keep it, in fact, it's going to cause you some suffering, some pain. So to avoid that, you simply don't become committed. Right? Because that way you always reserve for yourself an option to escape from the ordeal of spiritual life. This is a non-serious, uncommitted person. And for them, they will never have perfect knowledge. They're doing something like what Sister was talking about. They come to the path to earn merit for their next birth. They're in the wrong place. You go to church or to a mosque or to a temple or you join a charitable organization and there you do that kind of work if you want to get merit for your next life. Path is not the place for people who are merely trying to accumulate merit for their next birth. This is not the right place for you. But I've told you all that from day one, haven't I? Yes. This is not the place to come if all you're interested in is creating merit and getting yourself a better life. This is not the place. I'm telling you again, if I didn't make it clear years ago, then I'm making it clear today. This is not the place for you at all. You see? This is a place for serious people who are serious about it, capable of a great commitment, and willing to pay the price, my heart. Who have understood the ego-bound life and way of living is complete illusion. Complete, total illusion. Not it. It's not it. And I want something greater than this. The path is for those who want something and want to achieve something great with their lifetime. Don't want to piss it away, chasing bubbles, living in delusion. Right? And for that, you got to have some courage. You got to be able to go through some pain. Maharaji says there can be no gain without pain. It is so. That's reality. These are the reality teachings. And either you will practice reality or you will not. You see, sadhana fundamentally is the practice of reality. That's what sadhana is. It's the practice of reality. It's not the practice of philosophy. It's not the practice of religion. It's not the practice of psychology. It's the practice of reality. That's sadhana and nothing else. And I mean absolutely nothing else. You see, if you're not practicing reality, then you're just wasting your whole human lifetime on some bullshit. And that's all it is. It's just bullshit. You know it's bullshit, and I know it's bullshit. So let's not bullshit each other. That's it. You see? Summary of it all. And that's what it's about. All right, I think that's enough for today. You have some shine. Maintain the silence of the room. Don't squander your insights, meaningless babble with one another. Stay focused.